Welcome back, everyone. We are back for Kentucky Christian Writers Conference 2026.
Yay!
Our theme this year is Anointed Ink, where calling meets craft. And our verse is Psalm 45:1. Can you nab that verse for us, Cindy?
I sure can. And this is from the New Living Translation. Beautiful words stir my heart. I will recite a lovely poem about the King, for my tongue is like the pen of a skillful poet.
Excellent. And I am so pleased to tell you that we are kicking off our interviews with Mr. Gregg Bridgeman, which we will tell you a little bit more about Mr. Gregg Bridgeman and let him tell you a little bit about himself. So let's go ahead and meet him. Welcome, Gregg.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Cindy. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, Gregg, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're hailing from, and maybe what you like to do for fun.
Well, I am married to USA Today best-selling Christian award-winning author Hallee Bridgeman, and that's pretty much as famous as I am. That's the beginning and end of my fame and notoriety. But Hallee and I, back in 2011, founded Olivia Kimbrell Press. And Olivia Kimbrell Press's mission at that, it was a different time back then. A lot of Christian fiction was bonnets and buggies, or Barbie and Ken meet Jesus. You know, it was not really a good read. And so she wrote in a very different style. At the time, it was kind of revolutionary. It was very realistic and contended with characters who people can identify with on a real basis. Their real struggles, their real, let's say, seeking in their faith journey, looking for answers, resolutions, dealing with big themes like we all have to struggle with, like, for example, forgiveness. Forgiveness is a tough one for all of us. Like we there's hardly anything better than holding a grudge, right? Things like this. And so in contending with those real life situations, it wasn't exactly, everybody's carved from cream cheese and everybody, goes to church every time the doors open. And it was more of a realistic take. And so it was not suitable for the then Christian market. And the Christian market has gone through massive changes ever since then. But she was one of the pioneers, as you guys know, in independently publishing realistic Christian fiction. And really carved a lot of pathways for others to follow suit and make a difference in this world. And I think it has had a tremendous impact in really faith in our marketplace, in opening up those, people were hungry for stories that resonated as true, and characters that resonated as realistic. And so now we have a lot of that, and that's a wonderful thing. A rising tide raises all ships. And our mission from our Creator is to spread the gospel message to every tribe and every nation. And so we should definitely do that in every possible way we can. So Hallee and I were blessed with 3 children. They're behind me. We never had another daughter, but if we did, her name would have been Olivia Kimbrell, after her grandmother, Olive, and after my grandmother, Lucille Kimbrell. So we never had another daughter, but we named our press Olivia Kimbrell Press. So she's our baby. And we've published more than 100 authors over the years, other than Hallee, in many genres, as long as it communicates truth. That's our mission, really, is to communicate truth. There was a famous Jewish carpenter you may have heard of, and he was asked the question, he said, the reason that he was born, think about this. This is his words, red letters. The reason he was born, the reason he came into the world was to tell the truth, to testify to the truth. And the world, in response, said, veritas, keo veritas, what is truth? Right. Pilate's response. So it's our job to answer that question of what is truth. Here is truth. God is truth.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Excellent.
I hear that you like to do some writing on the side. So what sort of writing do you like to do?
No, not really.
Okay.
I'm so busy editing.
Okay.
That I have completed a work. It is over 350,000 words long. It is unpublished because it is not ready to be published, not to our standards. One day, maybe that'll come out, maybe after I'm gone. But in terms of writing on a daily basis, that's not my forte. My
Okay.
forte is more in taking the words of others and trying to divine the spirit there, the meaning there, and elevate it.
Excellent.
That's wonderful.
Now, one of the things that I admire about you and your wife, the lovely Hallee Bridgeman,
Yeah.
is how knowledgeable you both are about the publishing industry. As you said, you really kind of charted a little bit of a new path, well, big path for others to follow. And as you mentioned, you've been working as an acquisition editor and a copy editor for Olivia Kimbrell Press.
Yeah.
Now, how long I think you mentioned what year you started Olivia Kimbrell Press.
We founded it in 2011, which is seems like a few months ago, but it was a long time ago. The first published book was in 2012, and it was actually Hallee's Sapphire Ice, the first book in her Jewel series. But we have published, as I said, hundreds. I don't even want, I'll miss somebody, so I don't want to say, but well, Sarah, we've published you, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I may be confused.
We have met, and you guys have certainly poured into me.
Hannah Conway, I think.
Yes.
Early days.
Yeah.
The Wounded Warrior's Wife, if I recall. Things get fuzzy, but it's been many authors. It just really our mission is to get it into as many channels as possible. And the way that we learned was really just a trial by fire. It was, no publisher in 2011 was prepared for kind of the radical, at that time, manuscript that Hallee had. And today it's kind of, toned down and charming, right? In comparison to some of the stuff that's available. But then it was radical. I mean, her first story was about three sisters who had three different fathers. They were half sisters. Their mother was a heroin addict. And they came from really, really terrible circumstances. But you and I know, and everybody in our audience knows, that this is realistic, that there are people who are in these terrible life circumstances. And when you're in terrible life circumstances, the only hope we have has a name, and we know his name. And so her mission was to share the hope of Christ with the world. And she did it in, I think, a very creative way. And so the nice rejection letters we were getting back were, this is an amazing story. I know I'll see this on the shelf one day. It's going to be a bestseller, but I can't publish it. I would get hate mail, right? So our notion was, well, fine, we'll just make our own publishing company then. And so that's what we did. Well, that sounds pretty easy, but it's not as easy as it sounds. So it was truly a trial by fire, learning all the ins and outs of the industry. And at the same time, contending with a culture. Schopenhauer said, whenever a paradigm shifts, at first it's ignored as irrelevant. This will never catch on. And then it is violently opposed. And then it is accepted as if it's always been that way. And so I hearken back to like Martin Luther, right, who independently published the Bible. Imagine when he was going through that paradigm shift culturally. Who do you think you are, independently publishing a Bible, right? And it actually started wars, and people lost their lives over it. And so fortunately, no one died from what we did. But, same paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Early days, what we were doing was violently opposed. We were contending with that as well. And now it's accepted as, well, it's always been this way. It makes things a lot easier, but it has different challenges.
Yeah.
I know that you and Hallee have been friends of the Kentucky Christian Writers Conference for years. You've served in many different capacities on the planning team as faculty, and you both have been the coordinator. This year, you are the chaplain, historian, and resource chair. But what first sparked your interest and your wanting to be involved in KCWC?
So Hallee and I are both dandelion seeds. Do you know what that means? We're both Army brats.
Okay.
So a dandelion seed, floats around and it grows where it's planted. And that's kind of the metaphor for an Army brat, right?
Yeah.
The flower of an Army brat is the dandelion. Her her father retired as a command sergeant major. He was a ranger most of his career. He taught ranger school. So he was very much infantry minded, but that took him to various places like Germany and South Korea, well, the DMZ of South Korea, etc., over the course of his career. So Hallee was actually born in a helicopter above Nuremberg, Germany. So, yeah, which is really kind of a cool story. Who else is born on a helicopter? How cool is that? She didn't remember it, but
it would be traumatic if she did.
Yeah, but it's a good story.
It is very.
I was born at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, at DeWitt Army Hospital. As after my father's second tour in Vietnam. My sister was born in Kentucky after his first tour in Vietnam. And, we traveled everywhere. We traveled to many exotic places. I actually spent time in Jeddah. My younger brother, Andrew, was born in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, if you can believe that. And things like that. And so we didn't really have a place that we called home. And so we have adopted Kentucky as our home. Our dandelion seeds are planted right here, and we're growing right here in the heart of Kentucky. And we love everything about Kentucky. For one thing, people in Kentucky, as you know, are polite. It's like when you're trying to merge onto the intersection, even, I better wait till somebody invites me. I don't want to, merge in right away. And at an intersection, people with the right of way, you go ahead, So people are painfully polite in general. And Kentucky has this beautiful beauty every season. Winter, spring, summer, fall, Kentucky is the best of every season. It's like, you want winter? Well, let me give you 6 days of real winter. Here's some ice and snow, and and then spring comes and the world is green and bright and beautiful. You know what I mean? And the colors of fall, it's just strikingly beautiful all the time. And we just love the changing of the seasons here. I have family here, so we decided to make Kentucky our home, and we wanted our children to have the opportunity to be in one place and make network, relationships and things like that, and build lives here in one place that we didn't have as children. We have no basis of comparison. It's the way we came up, so it was kind of our normal. But we wanted their normal to be different, and so that's why we settled here in Kentucky. And we love everything about Kentucky. We've embraced it. Our youngest son was born here, right up the street in Lexington, Kentucky. And as far as the Kentucky Christian Writers Conference goes, when we started this writing gig, we wanted to go to as many conferences as possible and learn and so on, because we were learning at the time, trial by fire. And we found this little gem of a conference called the Kentucky Writers Conference, just an amazing conference. And over the years, the conference has evolved. We have withstood the slings and arrows that the world has thrown at us, and every trick and trial of Satan. We've met it and confronted it and rebuked it and overcome it. And we have a beautiful little amazing conference as a result. It's amazing to see it grow. You may remember the dark years of the pandemic. We were one of the very first conferences that pivoted to being a virtual conference. And in that year of 2020, we charged $20.20 to attend our it was 2020. And I think our attendance was over 300 folks and from 14 countries or some crazy thing like that. And it was just a real blessing, because many other Christian conferences, and I forget how many, came to Hallee and I and said, how do we do this? Because they had no idea how to pivot too.
Mhm.
So we were able to bless them and enable them and pivot them as well. And we got through that time. But I have to say, it's so much better in person. It's
Mhm.
better to come and see someone's face and shake a hand or hug a neck, and just spend time in fellowship, learning, and spending time with people in that way.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And the next thing I wanted to ask, which you've kind of already started to answer at least, you and Hallee have been to so many conferences,
All
and
over the world.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you have poured into the Kentucky Christian Writers Conference, and you continue to be a part of it every year. What do you think sets KCWC apart from other conferences? What makes it unique and different?
Such a great question. Such a great. It's subjective, but it is the spirit of the conference.
Mm.
If I had to sum it up, it is the spirit and the heart and the community that you meet in this conference. You know, the Kentucky Christian Writers Conference is always welcoming. They're always enabling and uplifting and supporting. Um, and the sheer volume of information that you can glean from any session is, people like to say, well, it's on par with X or Y conference. I think it's better. I think we're so specific about, you see my doggy,
Yes.
we're specific about our faculty, about our staff, about what we cover. There's literally something for everyone. If you write fiction, we have tracks for you. If you write nonfiction, we have if you write devotions, if you're brand new and you just, God blessed you and you amazingly have finished your first book and it's come as a big surprise to you that you've done so. Well, now what do I do? We can answer that. If you're a seasoned veteran with 40 books in your belt, we got something for you too. If you're maybe not sure about marketing, if you're maybe, hey, maybe I want to get into this audiobook thing. A couple years ago, we had Gene Rowley come and talk about audiobooks and how amazing was that, and how to, set up a studio in your home and, the whole bit. That there is literally, we span the gamut in that little compressed amount of time. It is so amazing the amount of information that's available to conferees. And it's always a blessing to the staff and faculty too.
Yeah.
So I think all of that collectively, if I summed it up, it's the spirit and the heart of the conference.
Yeah. This is my third year as being the faculty chair. And I got feedback both after the 2024 one and then the 2025 one. The faculty's like, if I can come back to this, I want to be a part of this.
Right.
And I've been to other conferences and they've been wonderful, but there's just something about KCWC that
something about it. Yeah. It's the spirit and the heart of the conference. When you've attended your first one, you'll come back at least every other year, and probably every year. And this is why we have such a, line for registration every year too, with our conferees just lining up. When do the tickets go on sale? And the other thing about it is we go to great pains in Kentucky to make it affordable. As you know, some other conferences, I'm not going to gossip, but they charge an unbelievable amount of money just to go to the conference. And then you add travel and hotel and meals. And it's like, whoa, the fact that your ticket pays for meals, that it's an affordable ticket price. I can manage this in a hotel room. And then they've got blocked hotels. I'll get a discount and I don't have to worry about meals. The other thing that we do that is unique, in my opinion, is spouses. We take care of the spouses. So the spouses can pay for just meals and they don't get to go to the sessions unless they pay for that, but they can spend the meal time with their spouse. And how important is that, to have that loved one next to you, sharing your meal? You can, hey, I just went to this conference session and I learned this, and talk about that with your spouse. And we really have a heart for youth with the conference too. Absolutely. And that's not necessarily unique, but I think we handle it in a very unique way. First of all, we have scholarships which is great. But we handle youth too, and there's something for the youth, and it's completely appropriate for the youth because they're going to be the warriors of tomorrow.
Yeah.
We had a family last year that came and they brought their teens. It was mostly dad came, but I think it was more for these older teens. And those kids, when they left the weekend, they were just so excited.
Just
about
energized and ready to go. Yeah, exactly. Armed and equipped.
Yes.
Exactly. So I know that this year you're going to be coming as part of our faculty for the accepting or for acquisitions editors. My words today are not wanting to agree. But you're going to be accepting pitches from Olivia Kimbrell Press.
Yes.
So first of all, tell us what an acquisitions editor is and how is that different from a copy editor?
So great question. Olivia Kimbrell Press is a traditional royalty paying press. If the work is good enough and it fits into our criteria and we contract with you, we take care of all the overhead. So we'll design your cover and we'll edit it and format it and typeset it and publish it. And so we would acquire the rights to your work under contract, and then as a basis of the sales of that work over the next however many years the contract is good for, we'll pay you royalties out of the sales, which is beneficial to a lot of authors. It's a very old school model of traditional publishing, but that's what an acquisition editor does. So my job is to find the little diamonds in the rough, if you will. So my son, that's okay, buddy.
That's okay.
So the issue is that last year on Amazon, there were over 5 million books published last year on Amazon. Of those 5 million, probably only about 2,000 really needed to be published. That's a very small percentage. The issue is that the work has to be good enough that it meets our publishing standards, it meets our criteria. It has to be polished enough that we can actually present this and sell the books from it, so that we can recoup our investment, but also so the author can get royalties from the sales. And so finding something that meets that criteria is actually harder than it seems.
Yeah. So what are you looking for in a one-on-one pitch session? Are you looking for specific genres or,
Yes.
You tell us.
Yeah. So under our flagship of Olivia Kimbrell Press, we publish fiction and nonfiction. So the nonfiction would be more of a testimonial type thing. So some of the works that we've published, we have a gentleman who has he's a lieutenant colonel, retired lieutenant colonel in the Army. And he and his wife over the years have adopted or fostered 21 children. 21 children, yeah. And every single child that they have taken into their heart and into their home is affected in some way by addiction. And so his work was called Scourge, and it was about the scourge of addiction in our society. And of course, the solution to that scourge is Christ. So something like that. A lot of people want to publish devotionals. Devotionals are really not in our wheelhouse. We're looking for something meatier, something, with some chutzpah, if you will, that can hit the earth and make a mark and make a difference. And in our in our fiction line, we can publish anything from World War II on, as long as it has a faith arc. So if it is a romantic romance, that's great. It has to have a romance arc, but it also has to have a faith arc. If it's a romantic suspense, there has to be that suspense arc, that romance arc, that faith arc. That faith arc has to be there. In our colophons, we have kawe, which is Latin for caution. So those are cautionary tales. They focus on basically first century. So I'm very excited that we have 4 books coming out this year from a brand new author. I'm not going to say her name yet, but she has written the stories of the women of the Bible that aren't told. So, for example, Joseph's wife, one of Solomon's wife, Moses's wife, what did this look like from her perspective? Fascinating story. It's called Daughters of the Promise series. Very excited about it. Look for it, guys. You can pre-order now.
Yeah.
No, but really excited about those books coming out. But First Century is Kawe. We published a series of those that were set in Celtic Ireland in the time of St. Patrick, and the changes that Ireland was going through as a result of his mission there. Fantastic books, fascinating books. And under our other press, which is called Sign of the Whale, there's a big fish in the Bible. Don't know if you know about that. It's like, I don't want to go to Nineveh. Oh, you're going to Nineveh, buddy.
Right.
You're getting there one way or another. I'm going to take you by fish. But Sign of the Whale focuses on fantasy and speculative fiction. And we published a series of books under that colophon by a tremendous author, fantastic author that's time travel. There's 8 books in the series, all very well written. There's no paradoxes. There are causal loops, but that's okay. It's a time travel novel. And really just a wonderful story. Amanda True, look for those. So if you have speculative fiction that meets our criteria, well written, and a faith arc, very interested in hearing about that. And fantasy as well. And there's a new upcoming genre. It's very popular among secular readers called romantasy.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm interested in taking pitches on romantasy. So that's what I'm interested in right now. But for our main nonfiction colophon, we really focus on contemporary fiction. So women's literature, romantic suspense, romantic thriller, just suspense, just thriller. As long as there's that faith arc, it can be a contemporary novel or series. Really is better. And we are definitely interested in talking to you.
Awesome.
Excellent.
So for someone who's coming and they're wanting to do a pitch, what would best help them prepare? Do they need to have like a one sheet? Do they need to have a sample of their writing? What would you like to see?
Yeah. One sheets are very helpful. The other advice I would give is make sure I'm at the plate. Because if I'm not at the plate, you're pitching, but I'm not there. So if I'm at the table, that's the time for us to talk. If I'm going to the bathroom or the elevator, that's really not the time to talk about the book. So the pitch has to, the batter has to be at the plate when you're pitching. So I'll be at the plate and I will have my 100% attention. I may pray with you. I'm known to do that. You can ask Rhonda Dragamer about that. But we'll evaluate the quality of the tale. I may give some direction or ask questions or ask how you intend, what's your intended market? I wrote this book. Great. Who would consume this book? Who would be the consumer of this book? That's a very important question. Who is your writing style most like? It could be Nora Roberts. I don't care. It could be Stephen King. I don't care. Who do you compare yourself to? What's your writing style similar to? What's your intended market? Who do you see benefiting from this? So when you have your book and you have this big ball of truth, right? And you're handing this to Pontius Pilate and he says, what is truth? What's your answer?
That's good. That's really good.
Wonderful. Yeah. And so before we let you go, I have one more question for you. Tell us actually, it's a 2-part question. Sorry.
It's okay.
What is your favorite thing about writers' conferences and why should someone sign up for one?
Oh, man. Putting on my writer hat, you always benefit from a writing conference every single time. And here's why, because writing is such a solitary profession. You're in a room by yourself. It's you and your keyboard and the voices in your head. And after, hours or days or weeks of that, you start to feel a little insane, and like you're the only person in the world that really goes through this kind of writing thing, right?
Yeah.
It's great to meet other crazy people and realize they're not alone, and that they face the same challenges and have some of the same life experiences and experiences. You really, it's beneficial to know that you're not alone, that
Mhm.
there are other people who are in your world and who are not your competition. There's this notion that I wrote this book and I don't want anybody to see it and they'll steal my idea. No, they won't. We're all in this together, and a rising tide raises all ships. There are plenty of readers. There are more readers than writers.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime that a writer can aid another writer or mentor another writer, and that's something you definitely benefit from going to writers' conferences, is finding a mentor or even a couple of mentors who can guide you through those times when you just feel insane in this writing thing, and tell you how to face and challenge those. But the other tangible reward of going to a writers' conference is learning the craft.
Yeah.
Mm.
We must learn the craft. And there's so much
Mm.
bad advice in the world. Oh, to write, you have to read. And that is bad advice. And I'm not saying reading is not important. You should read. But, the best batters in baseball average about 300, which is, 7 times out of 10, they don't hit a thing.
Mm.
3 times out of 10, they do. Well, how do they get that good? They get that good by getting in the batter's box and taking swings every single day. They don't get that good by watching other people bat.
Mm.
So you can't get good at writing by reading. You can get better. You can see some things and learn some tricks. But what makes you a great writer is writing every day.
Yeah.
And to have that discipline of writing. And so remember we had Hallee Platier come and she
Mhm.
talked about your writing chunk. And how revelatory was that? Like, oh my gosh, I have a writing chunk. What's my writing chunk? And now you know what your chunk is. And you can write your chunk every day and you can build your chunk and make your chunk bigger or better. Just things like that you learn at writers' conferences that you really don't learn anywhere else. And
Right.
there's so much bad advice in the world, if you will. And if you chase those rabbits, you're going to end up down a deep rabbit hole. You can come to a writers' conference and you'll hear the truth, you'll hear facts, you'll hear things that maybe they don't work for you specifically, but maybe you can adopt that method for a way that does work for you. And how are you going to learn that other than hearing it from other successful people?
Right.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Gregg, for joining us today and for sharing and for not only encouraging us, but also teaching us a little something. Every time I have a conversation with you, I come away a little more encouraged and edified and educated.
Thank
So
you.
I really appreciate your time.
Oh,
Thank
that
you.
Yeah.
means a lot.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for having me. It's been an honor to be with you this morning. It's a
Yeah.
privilege. Anybody that's listening, if you haven't bought your ticket for Kentucky Christian Writers Conference, it's affordable. It's in October. Get there any way you can. If it's the one conference you go to this year, make sure it's the one conference you go to this year.
Yeah.
It will
Absolutely.
change your life. It will change your writing style. It will focus you in a way that other conferences can't, and it will bless you. The spirit of that conference will bless you. So looking forward to seeing you all there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Excellent. All right.
All
Well,
right.
thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.